I don't want you to forget about what's going on right at our border right now between Tijuana and San Diego. These caravan of migrants who've descended there to try to get asylum status in the United States. A fraction will, when all is said and done. We know that 88 who have been processed. A minimum of 14 look like they will be granted asylum here. 15 others were told to have a good shot at it. But again, it's very early on in this process, and we don't know exactly what's going on right now with who's being selected versus who's being told to wait a little while. The former Homeland Security Secretary, Jeh Johnson, is here. Secretary, good to have you back again.
Neil, thanks for having me.
How does this process go? And maybe you can remind me of the legalities here. They have a right to this process, right? They don't have a right necessarily to become citizens instantly, but they do have a right to this process. Steer me through this process.
Correct. I don't want to get too technical here, but there's a process called expedited removal, where the Border Patrol Immigration can send somebody back without a full hearing that takes years. If you put somebody in expedited removal, then they are entitled to assert an asylum claim. And in that context, an asylum claim is a two-step process. First, a credible fear assertion and finding, and then ultimately an adjudication by an immigration judge that this person is entitled to asylum in the United States. And so what is happening now with the people coming from the caravan is they're getting to the port of entry and they're asserting credible fear. I have a credible fear that if I go back to Honduras or Guatemala or El Salvador, I will be persecuted in some way.
How do they prove that?
It's simply a statement.
Yeah.
And the asylum officer who hears the claim makes an assessment that the person is or is not credible in making that assertion. And if they find that they are credible and they've specified a case of credible fear, then they're allowed into the United States. There's a deportation proceeding that begins, but also an asylum claim that is made that is ultimately heard by an immigration judge. And that's a longer-term process.
But in the case of Cuba, when Castro took over, we took virtually anyone who wanted to leave Cuba seeking asylum.
Cuba was a special case.
Understood.
Right.
Now, in Honduras, I mean, the election there, you know, was a very divisive, sometimes a violent election. So you could say that those leaving didn't want to be there for fear or stating that they didn't like what was coming up. Is that good enough?
Well, Neil, first of all, you got to look at the big picture. So, big picture, illegal migration on our southern border is a fraction of what it was, say, 18 years ago. But the demographic has changed. It's no longer just single adults from Mexico. It's now women, children, families coming from Central America, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, and the push factors from those countries are powerful. The poverty, the violence. When I was Secretary of Homeland Security, I've spent hours, days on our southern border, very often talking to kids in holding stations. Why did you come here? Didn't you hear our message about the dangers of the journey through Mexico? And very often they'd simply say, my mom sent me here because the gangs were going to kill me. And so unless we deal with the push factors, the poverty and violence in these three countries, we're never going to be able to effectively deal with illegal migration on our southern border. Now, we've seen this slight spike in Honduras and what's happening in Honduras, but the reality is that the migration season is such that late April, early May is always the peak of the season traditionally.
So what we're watching now, the caravan got a lot of attention, I guess, at the very beginning, that there were so many.
Right. A lot of them stopped in Mexico.
Right.
Obviously.
And then there was another report out that the Mexicans did very little to stop it, or in other words, to test the United States. Do you believe that?
Well, the inevitable flow north, the Mexicans don't make a real effort to prevent unless we work with them. And so 2014, we had the spike of women and children coming from Central America. You may remember that. One of the ways we drove the numbers down is we got the Mexicans to work with us on securing their southern border with Central America. Longer term, I believe it's incumbent upon the Mexican government to develop their own system of hearing asylum claims. This is something we talked to them about in the closing days of the Obama administration. I don't know where that effort stands now, but the Mexican government ought to be in a position consistent with international law to deal with asylum claims on their own when people come from Central America into their own borders.
So the ones are processed now, Secretary. do a lot of them get a court date to return?
Yes.
If they're in the United States while they're waiting, they're not going to return, right?
Very often they don't return. Very often they're ordered.
I'm sorry, sir, but Jeff Sessions, Attorney General, is a big fan of having them wait in Mexico. And the Mexicans have been fighting that back and forth. But so where do these people go?
They very often go to live with family. Some of them are detained and are in our detention centers. But very often they go to live with family in places throughout the United States, and they know where they're headed. By the way, these are people who are not expecting to evade capture. Many of them come to ports of entry and present themselves literally at a port of entry.
Because it buys them time. Right.
Well, they're not seeking to avoid the Border Patrol. They go right to a port of entry and assert a credible fear claim.
And it's better than what they had.
Ultimately, it's better than what they have. It's better than what they have in Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. Ultimately, to deal with this issue, we've got to deal with the push factors. We've got to deal with the poverty and violence in those three countries, which is a powerful incentive to leave.
Yeah, you know, you don't want to leave where you are if you have it pretty good. Most of the influx of people we've had into this country dating back to the early 1900s, this is the Irish, of course, left the potato famine, what have you, but there's always been a compelling reason. It was just awful where they were, and so they come. So that's at the root of all of this, isn't it?
Neil, I dealt with this issue for 3 years and saw firsthand in Central America and on our southern border the extent to which people are so driven to leave home and come to the United States because of the circumstances in those countries. And there's no amount of border security, a wall, that you can build to deter somebody from leaving a place where mom is convinced the 10-year-old son is going to be killed or murdered.
But yet under your administration, when we're President Obama, deportations actually, contrary to popular belief, were very, very high. So what is the answer?
Dealing with the push factors, dealing with the underlying reasons why people leave these countries in the first place. And then in this country, frankly, more immigration judges. In this year's budget, we added another 150, went from, I think, 334 to 484. In my view, we need even more than that. They're dealing with a backlog of something like 600,000 cases.
Incredible. Real quickly, your thoughts on President Trump? How's he doing?
Well, from my Homeland Security perspective, I give this administration, this president, and this Secretary of Defense, Jim Mattis, who's a friend of mine, a lot of credit for what they've done to almost completely demolish ISIS in Iraq and Syria, the so-called caliphate there. Eliminating the ground force there and, frankly, reducing the threat to the homeland. We still have to deal with the prospect of terrorist-inspired attacks by lone wolves, those who self-radicalize on the internet. But we've done a very good job of reducing the size of the land that they held in Iraq and Syria, which I think has helped secure the homeland.
Secretary, very good seeing you again. Thank you very much for stopping by.